as South Africa celebrates 30 years of democracy, questions have been raised about the protection of children and young people. It follows, of course, a number of tragedies involving minors, including the Enyobeni Tavern tragedy, in which 21 people died, and many other stories as well. Now, UNICEF has called on all stakeholders, including government and the private sector, to strengthen efforts to ensure child safety. In fact, UNICEF South Africa representative Christine Muhigana joins us now for more on this story. Christine, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for coming on. I mean, we saw, thank you. We saw the impact of out-of-touch policy, right, during our handling of the HIV epidemic. We saw the impact of a generation of child-headed households. Would you say the situation is, at the very least, improving?
Yes, I would say that it is improving. Efforts are made by various stakeholders, primarily the government of South Africa, who is putting in place the right policies, the right legislations, the right frameworks for important work to be done to protect and prioritize children. But we need to do more in working together to implement those frameworks that are in place so that every child in the country does actually benefit from the frameworks, from the legislations, from the policies that are put in place at the national level. We need to make sure that it trickles down to every child wherever they are, and particularly for those who we know are more vulnerable. I'm thinking of children who live with disabilities. I'm thinking of children who are migrant children who are either alone or with their parents, their families, migrating, and also refugee children. But at the end of the day, we want every single child in this country to be able to be benefiting from prioritization and protection from all of us.
You know, Christine, one of the things about South Africa that we can never say is that we are short on policy, right? We've got great policies in place across the board, but it's a different story when it comes to implementing that policy.
That's correct, and it's sort of half full, half empty glass. There are a number of countries where we don't have, the benefit of these conducive environments, these policies, legislations in place. So we need to congratulate and be happy that we are in a country where those things are in place, and then make efforts, make renewed efforts, be more, bring this sense of urgency in terms of then making sure that there is implementation and children do benefit from the fact that there is these right intentions, these right frameworks, and within which partners, then be them from government, from the private sector, academia, civil society, young people and children themselves can then do things to better their situation and bring us in a situation where we have children who grow up safer, in a fairer environment, and also in a conducive environment for their growth.
Yeah, for them to become the adults that we all hope that our children will one day become, with the right opportunities, with enough opportunities. And I mean, employment is obviously an incredibly important part of that discussion, Christine. And, it brings me to the topic or the sort of name of this issue around what UNICEF is announcing. It's talking about the Manifesto for Every Child 2024. That's sort of the headline of this brief. And that's interesting wording because, of course, we're going to the elections in just over 30 days' time. And I just wonder how many political parties have talked specifically about policies, about plans that are targeted at the impact of various social ills that affect our children.
Absolutely. And what we're hoping, with this manifesto and the timing at which we are issuing it, that we're hoping that those political parties, politicians, those who engage with them, will look at our manifesto, we look at the various areas that we are highlighting here, and feel hopefully that they are covering many, if not most of these areas. And if not, this could be the time to say, this is what we would do to make sure, for example, that we continue to protect children from being infected from HIV. We continue to protect teenage girls from being pregnant, from actually protecting children from being pregnant and being, parents at a time when they're not ready to be parents. So we're hoping that this manifesto will catch the attention of those who are actually developing, writing manifestos, outlining what they will do to transform the society, to transform the way we treat our children, and see that hopefully some of it resonates, some of it they're already talking about doing it with partners. And if it's not in their manifesto, we're calling on them to consider having it there so that we can partner with them. They can partner with those who are already in this space, making sure that children are protected and prioritized.
Yeah, absolutely. Because ultimately, Christine, if we don't do that, it's a loss for our country, right? Our young people, our children have so much to offer. It's such a massive loss just when we think about the number of young people that are unemployed, young people who want to get an education, young people who walk many, many kilometers through rivers, over broken bridges to school to try and get an education. Always having to swim upstream to just get the basics of what every child has a right to. It's ultimately a massive loss for the country.
Yes, I couldn't say it, more eloquently than you have. If we don't invest in our young people, in our children, who will build this country, in a few years down the road? Who will make sure that we do have an economy that works? We do have a health system that's not burdened by the fact that we didn't make the right investments for people to be in good health and in good shape, in good nutritional condition. We need to invest now and reap the benefits tomorrow. And there's no reason why we wouldn't be able to do it, particularly, as we said at the beginning, in a country that has the right policies, the right sort of intentions, the right strategies. Let's make sure that we implement it so that our children are protected and grow up to be the productive adults and citizens that we want them to be.
And that we need them to be, absolutely. Christine Muhigana, it's been a great pleasure talking to you this afternoon. Thank you for joining us.